Finally. Hello, welcome to Words That Power. Um, where I know exactly what I'm doing. Oh, can y'all hear me, see me? Hold on. Me. Are you gonna come up anywhere? Hello? Hello? Oh, you see me. Okay. It's been one of those days. Um okay, sounds good to me. Um okay, let me see and say hi to everybody. Hey Vlad, hey Kitty, how you doing? You got your wine? I wish. It has been a day of working on this house. Hey Shamir. Hey Violet Witch. Humidity. Where? It's not, to me, this is not humid up here right now. This is like comfortable. Mm, ah. Um. uh. Yeah, it is. I was just feeling a little bit of something. So I did the coral to coast coral color, and then the super shock under the sea. Looks nice. In real life, it looks really good. Y'all aren't seeing the full majesty. Hey Snoop, what's up? Snoop. Um, oh hey Bad Art, you snuck right past me. Um, yeah, it's not hot. The humidity is. It's not. I don't feel like I'm swimming while I walk right now. So it's a wee bit different in New Orleans. It's a bit nicer here. Um, so that's good. All right, let me put this over here. I don't have all my handy dandy things. Hey, Stacy. Okay, so part of the reason I'm a little bit late is because Stacy made an intro, and I was trying to figure out how to get it up here to use it. I'm gonna have to wait for Marcus to be here because that ain't happening. Hey, Mama T, how you doing? What's up? Oh, you can help me with that? Okay, because I was like, dude, I was trying. It was a thing. We were having problems. We were having issues. Not the heat, just that moisture. Then you would have to stay away from New Orleans during the summer, definitely. Um, Winter might be better for you, but it's still humid in the winter down there.
Mama, I want some more chips.
You ate all those chips?
Yeah.
Can you hang on a minute?
Okay.
All right, go watch your Kindle. Growth spurt. She having a growth spurt. Ah. It just jumped. Hold on one second. It took Kim and I in a minute to figure it out on StreamYard. Right? Yeah, I was like, wait, what? Yes, please. Please do. Won't be Florida either. Yeah. Yeah. See, the humidity doesn't bother me as much. It's the sun that bothers me. But, I'm probably a vampire, so whatever. Yeah, so Okay. How many of y'all have watched the second body cam footage feed that came out on the Gabby Petito case? Because after that, I now have even more questions than I did before. Yeah, it was bad. And hold on. Give me 1 second. Hey, where you going? What you doing? I may have to run out there and see what she's doing. All right, let me see. Where was I at in the notes? Okay. We got a lot of notes. Yes. And we are going to talk about that. I had problems before with law enforcement, but now, baby girl, let me go see what baby girl is doing, because what you doing? You want more chips?
Yeah. It's not on the homemade book.
Okay, just chew good.
Tips didn't on my throat.
Right. You gotta chew them good though, okay?
The tips didn't anymore.
Uh-huh.
Tip didn't go down to my throat.
Yeah, you don't want it to go down and hurt. Okay? Go ahead, go wash your Kindle. Okay, she's got Doritos and she's got her Kindle, so it's kind of a big deal for me to let her sit with her Doritos and eat. She's having a growth spurt, so she's been eating all day. She's gonna eat everything. I haven't looked at. I've tried to limit what I look at to like actual footage of the situation. So I've watched the first body cam footage feed that came out. There was a press conference with law enforcement, and then now this second body cam footage. I have not watched. I accidentally butt watched. Like I wasn't actually watching. Like I had my phone on YouTube, and I had just watched the second feed, and I must have hit it accidentally, and it switched over. But I didn't watch the actual stream from some content creator. But I didn't actually listen to it or anything. Because I'm trying to just look at what actually happened with law enforcement, because I have some serious questions about how law enforcement handled that situation, and I don't want anyone else interjecting their opinion, etc., into what I view with this. So I'm trying to be really careful with what I am exposed to. So if his parents are ignoring her parents, that's yes. Yeah. That is Really, I might have to watch that. That might be very, very revealing. If both sets of parents, was it both sets, hers and his? Because I would be interested in watching that. Although they could edit it whatever way they want to, but see, I would be interested in watching the unedited video if there was one. But all right, so normally when you have a traffic stop, the first thing you do as law enforcement, you go up and you're like license, registration, proof of insurance, right? That's just standard. Hey, Soundwave, how you doing? I miss you. What's up? They did not do that. From the beginning of when law enforcement pulled them over, it was weird. From the very beginning. Okay, I will have to look at that after. His parents say nothing. They're probably advised by law or by an attorney not to say anything. Wow. That's just, I can't imagine what they're going through. Yeah, I know it was kind of a combo. There was one officer who seemed to be more concerned with the incident with the hitting the curb, the van hitting the curb, like crossing the double yellow line, I think it was. I think it was a double yellow. I don't know if I wrote that down in my notes, but there was a traffic situation with the one cop that he seemed to be more concerned with. The other cop was concerned with the people who saw the situation, right? Okay, so traffic officer guy flubs it from the beginning by not asking for registration, proof of insurance, etc. That's going to tell you who the vehicle belongs to. Who the vehicle belongs to is important. We'll get to that. Okay. When law enforcement speaks with the witnesses, he speaks with the one witness who wasn't really sure what was going on and didn't see the whole situation, doesn't speak with the other witness that actually called 911 and was saying that he was in fact hitting her. Apparently. I was told that from an ex-coworker, right, who has been looking into this. 60 and a 15, they probably, was it really that bad? Can somebody confirm that? Because 60 and a 15, like, I don't know how they do there, but in New Orleans, you end up in the backseat of a cruiser, and then they will get your license, registration, proof of insurance, all of that. Okay, so they will probably be cussing. Headphones, earbuds, if you have children. I'm going to try because I have, little one, but I'm just stunned. And I'm stunned because the one officer, when he's speaking with her, first off, he's not speaking with her. He is lecturing at her. He is talking at her. He asks her a question. As she's attempting to answer that question, he interrupts her and proceeds to lecture her. The fuck? Now, there are two ways you can interview someone. You can interview someone with the motivation and intent to be to gather information to understand the situation, or you can interview them with a personal bias, and you want things to go the way you want things to go, and you want to prove your point. Let you guess which way he was doing. If you want to shut down a potential victim in a DV situation, lecture them, talk at them, be authoritative with them. You'll shut them down. They're not going to trust you. They're not going to open up to you. Me too. Me too. I would like to see that footage. So this officer sees marks on her. Did they take photos of those marks? Because apparently she had one, possibly two marks on her face, and she had bruising on her arms. Did they take photos? This officer, one, possibly two, maybe even three of these officers had personal biases in this situation. They already made up their damn minds what was going on when they walked up to this situation. They see marks on her. They act like it's no big deal. They see marks on him. It's a big deal. Why is this? The one officer in particular kept talking about statutes and codes, and this is the law. This is just how we have to do things. We have to be fair. We can't play favorites, this and that. We have to treat men and women equally. And he kept harping on this. I'm speaking as an ex-sheriff's deputy right now. No shit, Sherlock. You have to follow the statutes and codes of law. You are a law enforcement officer. That is your job. If you don't like that, turn your fucking badge in. Just because you have to be fair or try to be fair and unbiased, which is what you're supposed to try to do, is be unbiased and just look with training and logic at the situation. If you can't do that, turn your badge in, turn your gun in, resign. Go be a hockey coach. If you have a problem with the fact that you actually have to do your job in DV situations, then you need to quit, because you don't belong there. Because a large chunk of your job is going to be DV situations. What I saw in that, especially like the first one was bad. The second one was atrocious. You saw marks on a small, tiny female potential victim, and you played it off like it was no big friggin' deal. She told you that he grabbed her face and pushed her away. Had you actually done your damn job and asked the right questions, which is what you're supposed to do in an interview like that, you would have found that he was trying to take and permanently deprive her of her phone, and he was trying to control her phone and the home, which was the van. He had the keys. You want what?
I was thinking that this is yummy.
You want something delicious and yummy. You have to wait until after the stream. Remember, that's the deal. You have Doritos right now. Go eat your Doritos.
But then.
Okay, we'll go watch your Kindle then. All right?
Okay.
Okay, so he had the cell phone. He had the home. The home was the van. He had the keys to the van, and he was trying to deprive her of gaining access to her home. He was controlling that. So he's control of these two things. And apparently, from what I'm told, also her debit card, which is her financial access to her finances. That's a trifecta. That's coercive control. If I were doing a risk assessment of that situation, I would be advising her that she is in danger for harm. And it doesn't have to be physical. It can be psychological, financial in a number of ways, right? This is a trifecta. Communication. Abusers love to isolate and control their victim's ability to communicate. How many times have I said this? Home and vehicles quite often are used by abusers to isolate and control what that victim can or cannot do and their behavior. Finances, financial control, financial abuse. This is a trifecta. These officers, when I say they flubbed the entire thing from the beginning, from the very beginning, not ascertaining who that vehicle belonged to and asking for registration, license, registration, proof of insurance. So they didn't, when did they know who that van belonged to? Did they? Because it didn't look like they were really all that concerned with it. That it's opinion. Everything mentioned in today's live stream is of opinion only, alleged in theory based on observations, news, and other reports. These officers need an FTO who will break their foot off in their asses. They need to be run around their academy building until they vomit 10 times. And then up and down flights of stairs. Okay, I'm talking brutal, old school. And when you listen to the officers and how they are speaking to her, then listen to how they speak to him. She's got marks. He's got marks. She's got marks and she is very tiny. He's got marks and he grabbed her by the face. Could she have been defending herself against him? That would be my immediate thought. If I were in that situation, I would think if he was grabbing her by the face, you grab anyone in this area and they're going to start hitting you where you are closest, which will be where? Where did he have marks? The police cut a DV. The police fucked this case up from the beginning. Her blood is on their hands, in part. I'm speaking as an ex-law enforcement officer and ex-victims advocate. As my profession, I was trained in this. And I have degrees in this. Those law enforcement officers fucked this shit up. They foobarred it from the beginning. Period. You go work in a PD, you go work in law enforcement for more than a year, and you'll see what I'm saying. And one of those officers looked to me to be a rookie. He wasn't really sure what to think or what to do. And the one officer was kind of, you make this, you choose. I'll back you whatever you decide. And as an ex-law enforcement officer, there would be no reason for me to compare my relationship to a couple that I'm on a call for. My private personal business isn't anyone else's business. What the fuck are they doing in this department? That is unprofessional. And that guy has some serious personal biases. And I am not the kind of person to back any and every fucking officer. My FTOs, how I was trained, we did not do that. If you were an officer and you fucked up, we would call you out in a skinny minute happily. So what they did was automatically, without gathering all of the information that should have been basic. How many times have you been pulled over? And the first thing they do is license, registration, proof of insurance. Whose vehicle was it? You know that one person is trying to keep the other person out of the vehicle, but do they have a right to do that according to the law? If you're so stuck on the law, then if it's her vehicle, he has no right to keep her out of it. That's a red flag right there. There were red flags all over those that body cam feed was one big long red flag is what that was with law enforcement and with him. She was showing obvious signs of distress. Her body language is in, her head's down, her hands on her head. She's in. She's very in. She's trying to make herself as small as possible. She's scared. She thinks she's safe with law enforcement, so she starts to do what? She starts to come out. She starts to sit up and speak and take more space because she thinks she's safe. And then what happens when that law enforcement officer starts fucking lecturing her? She goes back in because she knows she's not safe. That's when she starts crying again and getting emotional again. I don't even have to look at my notes. I can see it in my head because it broke my fucking heart. Hydrate. Everyone, please hydrate. Yes. Her words were fear, defending her abuser because she didn't know what was going to happen afterward. That was trauma bonding. You were watching someone who was in trauma bonding right then. That's what you were seeing. Y'all have heard of children who will defend the parent that abuses them, right? That's what you were seeing. She's not the child, she's the victim. And she was defending her abuser because if you notice, she's not used to driving the vehicle. Why? Because he's always in control and possession of her vehicle. Why? Because he has to be in control. Period. He's an abuser. One way that he can control her is through that vehicle. So I would bet money that he was always the one driving. She got to drive it very, very limited, if at all. So she wasn't practiced in driving her own vehicle because, well, he's the man, so he's going to be better at driving, more than likely. It's some shit like that. Oh, you're too emotional and hysterical and too crazy, and if you try to drive the van, then you're just going to get in a wreck. Blah, 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 blah. Nuts or sluts defense. From the beginning of that stop to the end, he was talking about how mentally unstable she was. Did y'all notice that? That's nuts or sluts defense. I've talked about this I don't know how many times. Abusers love to discredit their victims by saying they're pathological liars or nuts or whatever thing they can use to discredit that victim. I mean, maybe if those officers right there had done their damn jobs, and if we would reform things to where if you have a DV situation, you have to call a victim's advocate out there right then, or trauma counselor or something, and let them assess the situation. Because I could walk into a situation and tell you exactly who's doing what to who. And maybe even for how long. But obviously, these officers were incapable of seeing that. I have a feeling that female officer, I have a feeling there's way more with her. Like she might have picked up on some things, but wait, what? Body language is part of one of the tools that law enforcement uses. Period. Point blank. Like, if you see someone running down a street, if when I was in law enforcement, if I saw someone running down a street, I'm going to be wondering, is that person injured? Are they running away from something because they're in fear? Then I got to see is there a zombie coming up behind them? Right? Are they running away because they have done something wrong that they shouldn't be doing? Or are they jogging? So body language isn't important all of a sudden? Fucking what? Retired cops and investigators said the body language was there and the red flags were yes, they were. Yes, they were. Yes, I don't think you don't. I don't think you have to have training to see the body language. That is standard abusive. You're trying to make yourself small. You're tired. You're exhausted. You're tired of the fighting and everything, right? And him, he's just standing there. He's being polite. You can see where he's nervous. And then when the cops are like, oh, suddenly he's fine. There isn't a problem. That dude has some pathological behavior going on. Yes, please. I need scented candles. Calm down. Yes. Yeah. It just jumped. I'm sorry, guys. If I got called to the scene, happens a lot in my state for DV. I would have been insistent about her going with me to the hospital. Yes. Yep. Yes. Those cops, if they'd had a victim's advocate, paramedics would have probably picked up on it. Like, officers should pick up on it. But these officers had personal biases. That one officer in particular was kind of the leader of the whole debacle. And he has personal biases. He has a problem with women. I'm just going to fucking say it. In my opinion, he has a problem with women because of his ex, and he needs to reevaluate himself. And I don't give a fuck about any thin blue line or whatever the fuck. If you are putting people's lives on the line, which is what happened here, and she died, then you need to hand your fucking badge in and go the fuck home. Hey, Dawn. I'm just sitting here going off on dumbasses. But this leads me to a question that I think is very important. If he is so dismissive of a young female who is typically the perfect victim, then how does he treat people of color? How does he treat Indigenous people? I think that that department should review the DV cases that he has worked on. I doubt they'll do it, but he's lucky I'm not his commanding officer, because I would be like, oh, hell no. You're going to be sweeping the floors and mopping. Suck it up, Buttercup. You'll be cleaning all of the gear. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's that the whole controlling of the resources and the fear, all the threats and intimidation and all of that is usually enough to make it hard to get them out. Ah, it jumped again. Um, look, look, look. If you're in law enforcement and you're a woman, I don't give a fuck. You better shine up that spine. And you better, if you see something that's wrong, it doesn't matter what gender or whatever. You see something's wrong, you better start stepping up. And those officers who have a problem, if they're racist or sexist or whatever, wash them out. I am so disgusted with how officers have been conducting themselves that I'm ashamed I was ever in law enforcement. Because the officer, any of them faked them out and said, well, we can lock one of you up or you can call someone to come get you. I've seen that happen. There was one situation where the abuser was really something. And it was one of those situations where an officer played it like, well, we don't know who did what, so we're just going to take you both in. Right? Took him, did not take her, and got her reconnected with her family. And, it depends. It depends on the officers. Which is why I think that officers should have a victim's advocate and or trauma counselor there on DV scenes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You are correct, Bad Art. If they could take Brian to a hotel, they could have. See, they were looking at Brian as the victim now. They were calling him the victim. Despite all the fucking red flags, they were calling him the victim. Who's dead? If any of you officers who were there see this, who's dead? Who is the victim? Who was trying to take control and possession of a vehicle that didn't belong to them, and a cell phone, and apparently a debit card? Trifecta. Have you guys had domestic violence training of any significance? Do you know what coercive control is? If the 911 call was hands being raised, it would not even have been a life conversation about relationship. She was upset, damn it. She was upset because he was threatening to lock up her vehicle, deny her access to her vehicle, and, trying to force her to go away for a walk from her vehicle and her home. Imagine a stranger comes into your house and tells you, you're upset. You need to go take a walk. I'm going to lock your house up and you're just going to go take a walk. And I'm going to retain the keys to your home. Would you be okay with that? I wouldn't. If Marcus, y'all know I love Marcus, but if he came in here and was like, oh, you seem upset, you need to go, I would be like, what? He would never do that to me, though, because he's not an abusive asshole. I would never do that to him. But this is what this guy was doing. Why did those law enforcement officers not say to him, well, why didn't you just let her hang out in the vehicle and you would take a walk? Why do you want her to go walking around a city, a town, where she doesn't know anyone, alone. Wow, really? Well, okay. A department is only as good as its leadership. A department is only as good as its leadership. I am the way I am when it comes to law enforcement because my leadership did not play. If you messed up, you were going to be tossed under the bus, the jail, the courthouse, and the prison. um, but these officers, it's fine for them to have their personal biases involved in a situation where they don't belong. That's fine. That's fine. Wow. Yes. Yeah. In my experience, often victims will admit things to us that they won't admit to officers. Yes. And I wonder why that is. And, I've seen victims who just clam up yes or no answers for a male officer, but when a female officer walks in and sits down and talks with them, and that's the thing, officers quite often are told to sit the person down and stand above them. Body language is how we instinctively respond to the way someone is standing, their look on their face, body language, etc., tone of voice, right? So even when I was in uniform, if somebody was emotionally upset and in a bad place, I know it wasn't necessarily my training, but I would have them sit down, give them some water, sit down next to them, and then fiddle with my little pocket notebook thing and my pen, and giving them time to breathe. As I'm doing this, talking to them, telling them I'm here to help you. I will help you all I can within my means. But I need you to calm down so you can tell me the information I need to know so I can help you, right? So maybe these jackasses who can't figure their way out of a wet paper sack and feel the need to lecture a victim of abuse instead of listening when she's answering questions, interrupt her. Just unbelievable. Some of them are not there anymore, resigned or time off or something. Well, I mean, as hard, look, that first body cam footage was bad. The second, with the marks, seeing that she has marks on her and they did nothing. Oh, even if they do continue in a career in law enforcement, there a whole lot of doors slammed shut when that second body cam footage came out. Because not only will the one officer who saw that and just kind of blew it off, that dumbass, good luck getting EMTs and nurses and whatnot to work with you positively. Hey, what you doing? What you doing? Come here. Do you want a pastry? Okay, you have to go in your room and watch your Kindle. If you want that pastry.
I'm hiding.
I know, but if you want it, you have to go watch your Kindle.
You can't find me.
Oh no, she's hiding.
You have to come. I will hide.
I don't know. Where'd she go? Where'd she go? All right, Goofus. Okay, no scream. No scream.
I will hide you down.
Go hide in your room. Go hide in your room. Don't close the door. What are you doing? Go hide in your room before I get you. Okay, sorry for the screams. Suspend from, oh, Lord. They don't belong. Some people just, if you don't have compassion and care and empathy for others, you don't belong in law enforcement, I think. Okay, shh, no yelling. No yelling. Oh, really? So he was using her card after, and probably before. I would bet money he had that card as soon as he was able to get his hands on it. The card, the van, the cell phone, possibly even the laptop. I would say probably the laptop too. Hey, do you want that pastry when we get done streaming?
Yeah.
Well, then you need to be nice. Go in your room.
I pack.
Go take it in your bedroom and play.
And go to school.
Okay, go ahead. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that is sad.
Me, Mama.
What, baby? Do you want more Doritos?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be right back, y'all. Let me keep this right here. Hopefully it doesn't jump. I'll be right back. Where's your cup? Where's your cup? Go get it. Go get it.
That's funny. Don't focus on me.
Hey, don't scream. Don't scream. Alrighty. Okay, so that's a good question. If they are capable of compassion or empathy, then they should feel like they messed up bad. And so far as qualified immunity goes, there should be none of that. That family should be able to sue them in civil court. Wrongful death. If I were that family, I would be lawyered up and everybody would be getting sued. Yes, there should have been a lot of things. You are correct. There should have been a lot of things. Yep. Yes, indeed. That's true. But if they're in that area, then they are their problem. That's, I guess, because I lived in New Orleans and worked the job in New Orleans. Like, if you're there, you're our problem. When you leave, fine, then you're not our problem anymore. But while you're in our jurisdiction, you are our problem, right? I guess we get so many tourists there that, gotta wonder. I part of me almost wishes that she had been arrested and that a judge could have figured it out, because I'm sure a judge would have figured out what was going on. And if her family, her family sounds like they care very much about her. Pretty sure they would have gotten her an attorney, and that attorney would have, handled that business. It's just those officers. That separating them. The fuck is he talking about? Dr. Phil said that? Okay. There's a lot I could say about Dr. Phil. Separating them and letting them come back together. Okay, well, here's the thing. If you're going to talk with them, you have to separate them. If you are going to say that one was abusing the other, then you have to arrest that abuser. And then, if you arrest the abuser, then see this is why law enforcement needs victims advocates coming in and helping from the beginning of a DV situation, assessing the situation, figuring out who is the abuser, who is not, and doing a risk assessment, going down the list, figuring everything out, and then trying to get family involved, family, friends, whatever support network for the victim and whatnot. But you don't always have a choice. And if the victim and abuser will come back together. That victim may want to stay away from the abuser, but the abuser may not allow that. And it may not be safe for the victim. There's a lot, right? But here's what I can say. From the beginning of that situation, law enforcement flubbed it. Hey, Akasik, how you doing? Oh, yes. Yeah, and I think it's worse than when I worked in it. I get that it can. It depends on the abuser. It depends on the situation. Some abusers will amp up. Some of them will calm down for a period of time. Like, it's not all one monolithic thing, right? Oh, thank you. I'm way behind y'all. I'm so sorry. Earbuds. I'm so far behind you guys. I'm so sorry. The chat is being really weird with me right now, I think. So they seriously, are you serious? They got photos of Brian's injuries, but not hers. You're supposed to, okay, in my jurisdiction, you would have to take photos of all injuries from all parties involved. Like that's the terminology that was used. All parties involved. If there are injuries on anyone, you take photos. And then you would also have to take them to the hospital to document that. He spent over $1,000 after, and the van was in her name, not his. See that right there? See that? See that right there? The only thing that's not on here is that he kept trying to control her cell phone. That's a trifecta. The van, which is the home, the finances, financial control, the cell phone, communication with family and friends. That's a trifecta. The trifecta of abuse. These are usually key points that you can look at and almost immediately see. If the abuser is trying to control those three things and you see that isn't a red flag. That is a neon Empire State Building sized warning that this person is highly abusive. And what you saw in public and what you know of now is probably a small portion of what was actually happening to her. Right on. Yeah, three is a hard year. She's getting better, but ooh. Right, I totally get you. Totally get you. Parents also cleared up where she was found. Okay, so that's where the tent was. Wow. I'm not surprised. When I first looked at the first stream where I looked at the body cam footage, I knew she was dead. Because when you look at the body cam footage, you look at his body language and hers, all the indicators were there in that first body cam footage. And the fact that she didn't seem the type to stay out of contact with her family like that and to just disappear off of social media, all this and that, is just completely not her normal mode of behavior and conduct throughout her life. Yeah, that was, and I was not the only one who thought that. And that this was before she was found, right? So, yeah, I'm not, there were a bunch of us who were like, oh, yeah, no, this is not going to end well. 4 girls that screamed all at the same time, probably. The head took a leave of absence, rightly so. Oh, it just jumped on me again. I was almost caught up. That's Gabby's families are collecting donations for beads for bracelets. Let It Beads is the name, and it represents DV victims. That is a beautiful idea. That is a beautiful idea, but because of seeing how law enforcement treated her, I want to know how that officer and other officers in that department have been treating women of color in those areas. And I happen to know that there are quite a few missing and murdered indigenous women in those areas, and women, Black women, like women of color in general. But I have questions. And great job, dudes. You gave me a door to open to begin talking about MMIW in your area, and wondering how much of a part law enforcement plays in that. Because now that I see how this law enforcement department comports itself during DV situations, apparently on the regular, it seems like they just seem perfectly comfortable doing what they were doing. Now I have questions in relation to how are MMIW treated? How are indigenous people treated in that area by law enforcement on the regular? And we're going to get into that. If she was arrested, she would still be alive. That's true. More than likely. Maybe. Like, if her family had been very proactive about immediately getting to her, but then, when you're a parent, you don't know. And if your child is now an adult, you walk that fine line of not wanting to completely intrude upon your grown child's life, but you still want your child to be safe, right? And that's hard. But as a former victims advocate and law enforcement, I'm just going to say to parents, if you really love and care about your child and you think there's any indication that your child might be in a DV situation, step in whenever you can. Immediately. Yes. Better training all around, but also they should have victims advocates or grief counselors or trauma counselors come to DV call situations and assess the situation. It shouldn't just be law enforcement. It should not just be law enforcement. That law enforcement does not go through the rigorous training that victims advocates do. How do I know this? I'm an ex-sheriff's deputy and I'm an ex-victims advocate. That's how I know this. Law enforcement does not have the rigorous training that victims advocates have. They do have training, but it's not the same. Oh, that is true. I mean, if it was to the point, qualified immunity has to end. If you're in law enforcement and you mess up bad enough that someone loses their life, you should lose your pension, your job, everything, because of the serious nature of the job. He didn't want her to use electronics. He wanted her off the grid, but she was a vlogger. He doesn't have any right to decide for her what she will or will not do. She was a grown human being. She wasn't a girl. She was a woman. And this is why I say words have power. They do. When we refer to women as girls, we infantilize women and put them in the category of, oh, well, she doesn't know any better. She can't think for herself. She was a woman. And if he didn't like that she was blogging, maybe he should have went and bought his own vehicle and cell phone and got his own debit card and maybe worked a job to get those things. Then he wouldn't have had to control her. Just a thought. Yeah. That's a key indicator. If the van is the home and she's not there, that is not a good sign. In a risk assessment, I did a risk assessment on this when I watched the first body cam footage. But what I didn't know is that law enforcement actually saw marks on her and blew them off. That's great. They were both defensive in the body cam footage. They were both. She was not okay. I don't know how long you've been here. She was very much, and her body language was the body language of an abuse victim. She was making herself very small, her hand on her head. She was self-soothing a lot. It was obvious to me that she was the victim of domestic violence. Him, on the other hand, he was not self-soothing, even when he was nervous. He was not worried. He was worried, but he was not worried. Do you know what I mean? He was worried about what she was saying. He was worried about what's going to happen with the van. He was worried about controlling the situation. There's a difference. Her family, with the help of Dr. Phil's wife, the foundation is the Gabby Petito Fund, will be for DV victims, families of everyone to use the same search efforts for them. That is awesome. And there needs to be a lot of that for MMIW all over the country. Can you stop biting me? And, Black women, people of color. It's a terrifying thought, but very necessary. Yes, it is. Wait, what? I'm not understanding what you're saying. He flew home to clean out a storage locker of Gabby's things. Is that verified? But then what? Did he fly back to get the van? What? What? There's a lot I don't know about this situation yet because I was being so careful and just watching the body cam footage and those things and not trying to do any opinion or any of that from anyone else, if that makes sense. That makes no sense. That makes absolutely no sense unless he was trying to hide some shit. If she had a journal or something where she was writing about his behavior. Just saying. Yeah, abuse victims have every right to defend themselves. And this whole reactive abuse thing, people can just suck it. No, I don't agree with that term. Just because a victim of abuse is defending themselves, it doesn't make them an abuser. Yes, he was. He was being very charming, friendly, very nice. They were being nice right back. Who's dead now? Officers. Why isn't it? Why isn't it? That right there? I've been asking that question for years, for a long time. I'm like, how does it make any sense not to have, trauma counselor, therapist, something, Jesus? I mean, law enforcement officers are not therapists. They don't have that kind of training. That's weird. That is really weird. Why? That doesn't make any kind of sense. That doesn't make any kind of sense. Yeah, I mean, but she, abuse victims quite often will begin to say about themselves the things that their abusers say about them, right? So she's saying she had, was it anxiety and OCD or something, which from what my ex-coworker tells me, she had never been diagnosed with, or also it had never been noticed by her friends and family, apparently. So therefore, that made us think that he's probably putting that in her head to make her, well, you're just crazy. You're just, you just have too much anxiety. You can't really think straight. Wait, what? His dad paid for the plane ticket, said to save the bill of the unit, $33. What the fuck? I have so many questions. So many questions. Hey, Pippi Longstockings, how you doing? Wow. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if that was part of what was going on. Yep. Yep. You're right, Shamir. You are right. Okay. All right. The chat is being weird with me right now, y'all. I'm not even kidding. Like, I don't know. Hold on, let me see. Oh yeah. Wow. What the hell is going on? Keeping up with the Joneses, her family should get them off. Yes, indeed. And garnish their future wages as well. That there should, I hope and pray that her family lawyers up and just sues the pants off everyone. That's what if this was my child, there would be lawsuits and then some. Civil court, man. You may not be able to get the officers for any kind of criminal charge, but you damn sure can get them for civil. Locker thing has rumor that was when they may have broken up. Oh, right. Just I've been trying to stay away from those types of things. That's why I've been very careful about what I watch, and I'm looking at body cam footage and things like that. Um,
Mama, there is no more chips in my cup.
Okay, well, I'm going to be done with the stream soon, and then we will go have yummy pastries.
Wow, what about my dada?
Your dada's at work, baby. Remember?
Can I dada one more pastry?
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, bye, Dee. See you later. Have a good night. Yes, it is. Very much so. But it can be used to highlight the fact that there are problems in law enforcement and how law enforcement treats victims, even in this department, the so-called perfect victim. What, baby? Can you go in your room?
No.
No.
I'm hungry.
You're always hungry today. Like all day you've been hungry. I will go get you something in a second, okay?
What about my dada and you?
Well, I'm going to eat a pastry too. We eat a pastry together.
Me?
Yeah.
What about my dada too?
Dada's at work. But he can have one when he comes home. Get that up there. Very interesting me. Female friends haven't been. I know, right? I want to see her footage. I know. Her hair is gorgeous. Don't scream. If you want that pastry, you're not going to scream. Okay?
Okay.
Baby girl wants yummies. I want yummies. Those things, they're good. They're so good. Yes.
Yummy.
I'm calling the food portion of the stream right now because I'm starving now.
I'm not starving.
Can you take this in the kitchen and put it on the counter? Don't spill.
Oh. Okay, I want.
I have to make dinner too. I don't even know. Oh, we have spaghetti in the fridge. Okay, right. Yes, indeed. Between this house and working on this house, getting it fixed up, I have been an eating machine, man. Look, we got lasagna from Luigi's, and I wiped that out in a very short amount of time. And if you've never been to Luigi's, like that it is very filling. Stuff is so good though. More pastries. Yes. cheat day pizza rolls today. Pizza rolls are good though. Barbecue pork chops. Oh, damn it! Did you have to say barbecue? I made tacos. Not a fan. I love tacos though. What is she doing? Baby girl, what you doing? She's doing something. What you want to bet? Now that she's taller, she probably grabbed the cookies some kind of way. All right, so this stream, I really wanted to focus on and talk about that second body cam footage because it was important. Go in your room. I'm finishing up this stream, okay?
I want a pastry.
I know you do. You have to wait until the very end of this stream, and then we're both gonna have one. Okay?
Can you have berry?
Sure. Because obviously I've had a serious problem with the way law enforcement handled this situation, and I'm wondering how they handle DV situations on the regular and how they treat Indigenous people, Black people, BIPOC people. I have questions. Food Castle. Wait, what? I'm gonna have to check that out. I don't know what that is, but I'm gonna have to check it out. A local church brought us some cookies. Right on. Yum. A pasty? Do you mean pasties? Like meat pie pasties? Because now, damn it. Now I want some of those. No, she did not deserve it. No one does. No one does. And those officers had a chance. They had a chance to save her life. And they didn't. Because they had a personal bias. Just a gas station store with awesome deli and pizza. Really? I mean, I'm all for it. There was a gas station down by me in New Orleans that had amazing stuffed grape leaves, like Mediterranean food. Oh, some of the best stuffed grape leaves I have ever had. What's going on? What you doing? Oh, dropped her puppy. Okay.
Mama, the puppy did want a bone.
Oh, okay. I don't know who they are. I don't know who they are. Klein and Crystal. I don't know.
Maybe maybe they are ninjas.
Oh, yes, you are right. You are right, Shamir. And she's right. They're so good. There's a grocery store not too far from here, and oh man, their pastries are really good. Like
yeah, and sweet. Yeah.
Really.
But that is treats are too spicy.
They're too spicy. Why are they too spicy?
That treats are too spicy.
Yes. Yeah, the licorice is very spicy. I can't handle that either. Well, I appreciate you being here.
Can handle that.
Well, your daddy's all about the spicy though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad is all about the spicy though. Yes. And on the stream, Mama.
Yes, you are.
So everybody.
You gonna say hi?
Yeah. Hi. You mean that?
Your wrist warmer? Yeah.
You mean that everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you Batman?
Yeah.
Batgirl? She would be Batgirl. She does. See, I kind of think she looks like me, but you know, the
Yeah. Well, actually, your eyes just hot without the.
wow, that is weird. That is weird.
The batteries.
That's a quinkydink.
The batteries just go in the garbage can.
Okay.
And the kitties and the kitty and the one kitty is a bad kitty.
The bad kitty.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. She has the same
Yeah.
under the sea color. She has that on her eyelids too.
It's so cute.
Yeah, it's kind of a deal that we have.
Yeah.
Um,
My eyes are pretty. They are like makeup.
yeah.
See, they are like makeup under the sea. It's like a mermaid color. Yeah. It's like blue mermaid color.
I mean that they know of, right? That they know of.
Yeah. It's like under the sea color.
That just sounds weird. That is weird.
I think.
I have questions. What?
I think.
You think what, baby?
I think the ocean, the water.
Okay.
I think the mermaid.
Okay, y'all. It's been over an hour. Yeah, right. There's a lot of sketch going on, and now that I've watched those body cam feeds, I might start looking at different information, but I don't want it like.
The ice just hurt a bunch of times ago, and my grandma is actually a comma there to call my baby. It's her baby.
You're silly. I don't want to. I want to be careful of how I look into this, so that I have my own opinion formed from information. If that makes sense.
I haven't seen Dada's grandma.
Oh, really?
Dad's grandma.
She does. She does. It is what it is. She's 3. No. No, she is not camera shy at all.
And my dad is big, even me. And my mama's small, even kids.
Wow.
And babies.
That's a lot.
And my sister Paisley is my friend.
Well, she's your cousin.
Oh.
Yeah.
And my friends. Oh, my friend.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go. What? Yep. It's about time for dinner, and we have pastry.
Yay!
And then all the bedtime routine stuff. But thank y'all for being here, and
Are you the center of the flower? Are you the center of the family?
Center of the no, you're the center of the family. Mm-hmm.
Your eyes just hurt a bunch of times, but they just hurt a bunch of times ago.
One thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start looking at the local like PD there and see how people of color have been treated. Because there's a lot of MMIW in that area. A lot. So I'm going to be looking into it. All right, y'all. Thank you, Snoop, for being here. Thank you, Sharemir, to the mods. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. What day is tomorrow?
Oh yeah.
Ah. Tomorrow is Saturday. Okay. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow. All right. Hold on. Baby girl. Don't forget that you have the right to say no. Your no should be respected. And if it is not respected, yeet that person out into the sun. What?
I want to go.
Okay. Do you want to say bye-bye?
Bye-bye. See you
Bye, y'all.
later.
Thank y'all for being here. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too.
She's so cute.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right. Bye, y'all. Ah. Okay. Shh. But I can't even think. Bye. Sorry. Bye.